Hello and welcome to Library Connection. I'm Mandy Cantrell, Youth Services Director at the B.B. Comer Memorial Library here in Sylacauga. Today I'm talking with Vicki Wilson. She's with the Sylacauga City School System, but we're not going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about genealogy, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you.
Vicki, before we get started with all of that, how you got started and all this, tell about yourself so we'll know who you are.
Well, like you say, Vicki Wilson with Sylacauga City School System. I have 2 kids and 1 grandchild, and I enjoy genealogy,
Great.
Looking at the history.
Good. How did you get started with this?
Well, my mother, she was trying to find out something about her mother's, her grandmother.
Right.
Because her mom's mother was, I think she passed away when she was only 5 or 6, so she didn't have any information, and so that's how I was searching for her.
Good. Was it hard to get started, or you just jump in there, right?
Well, you know, like they say, you start with what you know.
Right.
And so after I list my mother's name and my grandparents' name, and, you know, from there, you just...
Well, I know you told me you use Ancestry.com, and I'll have to, put in a plug for the library I want to. I know Ancestry.com is a database, right? You put in names and it gets you information and helps you look up your family. You have that on your computer at home, but we have it at the library. There is a charge for it, but we have it for free at the library. We have in the Lane Family History Center, we have Ancestry.com, Heritage Quest, all kinds of things, books, newspapers on film, so you can look all that up. But so you did a lot of yours on Ancestry.com.
I did, and I still search because Ancestry always updating their database. You always finding new information.
Right.
So that as far as the census record, they are up to the 1940 census.
Okay.
And so, yes.
There are a lot of places to look. I know you talked about the census. There's, let's see, birth records, death records, marriage records, land owners,
land deeds and wills.
Oh, wills, cemetery records, things like that. Why do some people search? I know your reason for starting was your mom or your grandmother, or wanting to know a little bit more about her family. You said her mother died when she was young, and I'm sure that would make you wonder about your history. Yeah. Why do other people search, do you think?
Well, a lot of them just would like to know where they, what area they was from or their parents come from.
I think some people maybe if they have health concerns, they want to know a little bit more about their family. If they were adopted, they want to maybe know about their birth family, and to prove your lineage. I know there's some reasons to do that if you're just some benefits if you're a Native American or something. I've heard something like that.
It is.
Good reasons to want to search to see what you're looking for.
Yes, that's true. And then your DNA. Now, DNA. A lot of people was under the impression that they had a little Indian blood in it, but once you do the DNA and they come back, no, you don't have any. So
I've seen those TV commercials where people think, all this time I thought I was German and found out I'm about 3% German, or something like that. Have you had that done too?
Yes, I did.
How interesting.
It's very. It was very interesting because now I get hits. Anyone that anytime they send their DNA in, and their DNA match mine, I get a new listing.
Oh,
and so they'll tell like either your first or second cousin or a third or fourth.
Oh my goodness!
So it is.
And these are people you don't know, don't have a clue.
Don't have a clue.
That's interesting, which I'm sure helps in your research.
In my search,
yes.
That's true. That's true. And I have had some of them to reach out to me, you know. They said, oh, I see we second or third cousin. Yes. And so they email me and want to know what I know.
That's the true. Same. Yes. I guess my first thought was now with Facebook and things like that, you can really stay in touch with people, you know.
Yeah, but we look from all over. Facebook probably with the live, we deal with the dead.
That's true. But with the people that are related to you. Yes. But that's a great contact for other records. Maybe you've hit a dead end, but you find somebody related to you.
That's true.
That has more information.
And that's true.
How do you keep your stuff together?
Well, the way I started mine, I started with, like I said, me and then my parents. Yeah. But I did my mother and father, and then I added my sister.
Just a little bit at a time.
Yes, you know, from the oldest to the youngest, and then their children would go in behind them. Okay. And just like my grandparents, I would list all of their kids, and it just grows and grows because I probably have like 15 or 20 binders like this.
Oh my goodness, now. That's a lot. Let's pull your binder over a little bit so they can see. You have about 15 or 20 of those.
Yes.
That is not. Yeah. That is a great way to keep. I know you said you showed me on your phone your family tree. Yes. You can keep it on Ancestry.com. Online, maybe online. On your computer.
That's true.
But then to have a binder too.
Yes, and I save birth records, graduation records, anything that I have on the children, or you know, I try to keep it in my binder.
That's great. I saw as you flipped, I looked at it, you had preschool graduation and birthday party invitations, newspaper. What a treasure to have.
I really enjoy it. And then even with Ancestry.com, you go by the year, like the 1990 census was, you know, destroyed in a fire. Oh. So, you know, but from that point on, you know, every 10 years you have a census, so you can go by the people age.
Yes.
You know, you find everyone in that household or the neighbors and stuff like that. So it's very interesting to me.
That is great. Well, we're going to pause for a commercial break and come back and talk a little bit more with Vicki.
Hi, it's Shawnee McNeil at South First Bank. This is a great time for you to buy or build a new home, or maybe refinance your present mortgage. Our rates are the lowest they've been in years, and that means saving you money. We've been helping our customers become homeowners in this area for nearly 70 years, and we can make our approvals right here in the office, and that means saving you time. We're located here in downtown Sylacauga. Come in and find South First, a better way to bank.
Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Marble City Pharmacy in Sylacauga is your destination for the highest quality health care. Our knowledgeable pharmacists are always available for questions about your medications or advice on taking over-the-counter products and supplements. Our friendly staff can assist you in choosing from our full lines of compression hose and medical equipment. And don't forget our gift department. We have a great selection of unique gifts for every occasion. Stop by today and see us. Marble City Pharmacy, where your health comes first.
Coosa Valley Medical Center, one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama, is also Sylacauga's largest employer. Services from the emergency room to surgery to cancer treatment to post-stroke care. You won't believe what's right in your backyard. It's Coosa Valley Medical Center in Sylacauga. So, if you're sick in Alabama, choose one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama. That is Coosa Valley Medical Center.
Hi, and welcome back to Library Connection. I'm Mandy Cantrell. I'm talking with Vicki Wilson with the Sylacauga City School System, but we're talking about genealogy. Vicki has done a lot of research with her family over, how many years have you been doing this? Or
like 20 or
20 years. Yes. Wow. So you've been able to go out pretty far.
Yes, that's true.
One thing I enjoyed, we were talking about off camera, is going to a family reunion. And we were talking about how nice it is to have it online, digital versions and things, and that is wonderful to keep because those things don't are not destroyed.
That's true.
But how nice to have a scrapbook.
Yes.
And
yes, most of the time when we go to the family reunion, I make sure I carry mine, and they'll get them and look through them, and and once they see everybody else's information, they was like, well, you don't have this, so they send pictures, or
I bet you're there with pen and paper writing everything.
Yeah, that's true.
How nice. And
that's true.
I tell you, a friend of mine is doing some family research in Ancestry, and she said, my daughter-in-law does the facts, the dates, the places, things like that, birth dates, death dates, marriage dates, all that kind of stuff. She said, but I want a story. I want some stories to go with it to help her remember it. So I think it's important to have
That's
both.
True.
That
true.
Right there to me is the story.
The stories,
the newspaper articles, birthday party invitations with pictures. How nice. That's great.
That's true.
And I know the younger generation, the younger children probably don't appreciate it as much, but they will. I mean,
that's true.
I didn't either when I was young, I know. But what a treasure to hand down to them. They will just really enjoy that. Well, you've spent many, many hours, I know.
I have.
Online,
really have.
And then you have to go out to cemeteries and places too.
I started out, I knew my mother family was from Coosa County.
Okay.
So I had gone to the courthouse, and I spent many hours going through the marriage records and all the deeds and all of that. And then Talladega County, I would to the courthouse, also cemeteries.
Oh,
I was a big fan of the cemetery. I would go and write down the dates and birth date. But if I had the birth dates and the death date, when I put them in Ancestry.com, the information would, I could find them.
That is
on
great.
Ancestry.com. So it was
done a lot of tracking.
And then talking to people, I always I spoke to my grandmother, and my grandmother gave me a lot of information about. She told me what she knew.
Okay.
And so just talking to people and recording them.
Right. And that, I know, that is a wonderful way to do it, and I love to have, I have a journal from one of my aunts who found it after she died, and it's just a treasure with just stories and things like that. But you can't always go by that. I know you said you had a cousin, I believe, that thought y'all had the same grandmother. But
yes, that's true. My mom, she was thinking her father's mother was the sister of one of her cousins, some kind of way. And I found out that one of them was named Kate and one of them was named Laura.
Oh.
And they was thinking it was the same woman, but it was totally different. They was in the same household, so we laughed about that.
Well, that's neat to find out. You found a lot of surprises, I guess, along the way. But that's good. That's good. Someone has even said it's like putting a puzzle pieces together.
That's true.
You get a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there. What happens if you just hit a dead end and you can't go anywhere else?
Once you hit a dead end, if you branch off to like another relative, you just go to, maybe if I was searching for my grandmother's mother.
Right. And
like I said, her death record was in, like that 1890 census. So I didn't have any records on her, because if she died when she was 20 or whatever, she was too young to be in the 1880 census. And so she had already died in the 1900 census. So within that time, I couldn't find anything on her. So I don't have the mother's name or any of the father's name. So I just had to go to Corbin's, and talk to them.
I guess you just go as far as you can, and you just can't. But there are a lot of different
avenues
things to try. Yes. I know. We were talking about looking in family Bibles.
Yes.
Back in the day, they wrote
that's
down
true.
births and deaths and marriages. So
That's true. That's
look
true.
through, and for me, it would be look through my basement to find all those old things that my mother gave me, and I thought, yeah, I'm just going to put them aside. But they're probably full of lots of information.
Yes, my grandmother, I did go and talk to her before she passed, and I made a copy of her Bible because it had the birth dates. You know, they used to write the birth date and the death dates.
They were so good.
They was, and they had all the, yes, and so, I got a lot of information from her Bible.
That's great. And just talking to family.
That's true.
You said, I'm sure you, stories you just want to hear.
I know it.
I know. And when we're young, you think, oh man, I'm so tired of hearing these stories. But now I would just give anything to have written down stories my grandmother told me when I was young.
That's
and
true.
None of
That's
us
true.
appreciated it when we were little, I guess. But and you can write it down, and some people will tape it.
Yeah, that's what I
videotape
did.
or-
I would tape my grandmother. I would stop by there and record her telling me different stories when they was young and some of the things that happened to them.
Right.
So it was really interesting to me.
That is really neat. Well, we're going to stop for another commercial break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Looking for a great pre-owned car or truck? Come visit the Collins family at Stop and Shop Auto Sales. Owned and operated by Bobby and Anderson since 1996, and now with the newest member of the team, George Collins. We specialize in quality trucks from Ford and Chevy, and also carry a variety of dependable cars and SUVs. All of our vehicles are professionally serviced and checked for safety and reliability. So come see us today in Sylacauga at 230 West 1st Street, or call 256-249-0322.
In Alabama, there are two things we take serious: football and barbecue. And at August Barbecue, we take our business serious. Our meat is smoked daily to give you the freshest and best quality. Ask about our daily vegetable specials. And don't forget about our beef brisket, served up every Thursday and Friday. We have a great outdoor seating area to enjoy the best live music around every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. Great service, great atmosphere, and great food. August Barbecue. You can taste the difference.
CallTheShield.com is the solution to pest and termite problems. APS shields your home from termite infestation, unwanted pests, mold and water intrusion, sagging floors, and unhealthy lawns. Visit CallTheShield.com to schedule your free evaluation. That's CallTheShield.com to schedule your free evaluation. Alabama Professional Services. Protection for your home.
Hello and welcome back to Library Connection. I'm Mandy Cantrell. I'm talking with Vicki Wilson. We're talking about genealogy. Very fascinating, I found it. Before I ask you more questions, I want to just be sure if anybody wants to get started with this, come to the library. We have an entire room dedicated to this. We have Ancestrycom, Heritage Quest, which you can use for free at the library on the computer to look up things. There's lots of books, and you were telling me some people donate books to the library with their family.
Yes, they donate their family tree, so you can go in and, try to get started that way. See how they compile their data. So,
I didn't think about that. It doesn't necessarily have to be your family, but just see how someone else.
Yes, see the information, because, you want the dates. You want to make sure you have the correct information for your search, or if someone coming behind you, they'll be able to.
That's true.
And you have the, excuse me, and you also have places.
Okay.
You always put places, like if someone lived in Talladega County, or, let's say they went to New York or somewhere. I mean, if you have that listed in your notes, when, you'll know about what year they moved to New York. So that's where you would find the information.
We have people come in. I know I work upstairs, but every once in a while when I'm downstairs, people will come in and say, I know, I'm from out of town. My great-grandmother lived here in maybe my grandmother lived here in 1920, or she died maybe in November of 1925. Do you have a newspaper record with her obituary in there? And so we have those. We can find those for you and get a copy. So a lot of people come, especially looking for family in this area.
That's true.
Yeah, so you've done some of that too, looking up obituaries.
And now the Daily Home also have, you can go online with obituary.
Okay.
And you can put the name and the state and everything in, and it, can have it. But a lot of the information I have on my tree did come from obituaries, and I used to say, do you have an old obituary, or can I go through your obituaries? And I used to collect the obituary, because the obituary would give the birth date, the place they was born, the mother and father's name, and you also have the siblings' name and any children they have. You get a lot of information off obituaries, and so I would collect obituaries and also save them in
your scrapbook,
my book.
That's nice. That's nice. Now I know we've got the facts, the dates, and things, but you also have pictures, I think, don't you? Can you do that on Ancestry?
Yes, on Ancestry.com, they'll let you upload your pictures, and you can share those. And on Ancestry.com, if that, you've seen the commercials where you get a leaf, and so other family members may have that same person on theirs, and sometimes I have found a picture of one of my relatives that I didn't have a picture on someone else's tree.
Oh my
so
goodness.
You can get that to put it on yours.
Well, you talked about the leaf. I know when you were showing me, it'll show your family tree, and they'll have a snapshot of someone and a little leaf. That tells you
a hint. It's a hint, so you can go. And if they added more information, sometimes it may not be your relative.
Okay.
But sometimes yes, that's where they was originally from.
Certainly worth looking at.
Yes, and that's what you do. You look and make sure it's the right date, the right race, and all of that.
Yes. Wonderful.
And so, it's nice.
I'm not sure if we mentioned this or not. Did we mention name changes? Sometimes changes.
The name, the spelling of the name. Yes, you. Most of the time, you do a search. It won't. You can click exact on there, but most of the time you don't, because the names are totally different. Some of them just spelled, nothing like what you're looking for. But if all the other information, your birth date and everything else,
if that matches.
I
guess they just changed that. My grandfather was an Adcox, and he spelled it ADCOX. But the rest of his family, 9 brothers and sisters, were ADCOCK. So if I just went strictly by ADCOX, I wouldn't find anybody. So.
That's true. Well, see, with the threes, some of them spelled it THREATT. Some spelled it with the W, and some spell it with one T. And
goodness,
and some of the brothers, some of them had different spelling, and so. Yes, you have to look at more than just a name.
Right. But if you can get the birth date and the death date, those things, then you're probably talking about this.
Yeah, that, and then you also look at the family members, the names, first names in the family.
Yeah.
As long as you have those same names, but the different, different spellings. So.
I bet a lot of couples, when they're expecting children, look back in their family and look for a family name maybe and see, because if the name is John, it might go back several generations.
That's true.
What a legacy there.
That's true. Yeah, that's like Ulysses. To us, it's like an odd name, but you start looking under the threes, And we have Oklahoma. They had lots of Ulysses, and just the threats was everywhere.
Right. Wow. Well, that's great. I didn't even mention looking at whitepages.com and phone books.
The phone books.
And that can be online, can it?
Yes, and it's basically free because you search for a person name and it'll tell you who's in that household. It'll list underneath, underneath it it'll have,
Oh, I didn't think about that because the bill or whatever, the phone is in one name, but there are children and spouses there.
They have that also.
And that's going away. Phone books are shrinking. So that's something we won't have to look at much
That's true.
Much longer.
But it'll still be on the internet. So
that's right. It'll still be on there.
Printed pages probably go, but
But that's okay. Well, I'm just very impressed. When you said you've been doing this 20 years.
About 20 years.
Do you have any help or mostly on your own?
Mostly on my own, but I enjoy it, so that makes all the difference because I can go and my mom say, well, how do you go to the cemetery? But I enjoy going, looking at the headstones and taking pictures and stuff like that, but it's just something I enjoy doing.
That's great. Do you have any plans to do anymore or just kind of keep doing the same thing?
Well, I'm still working on going back. But I also have to go forward too because because they still having babies and stuff like that. Yeah. So you have to work on both ends of it. So.
That's true. That sounds more like scrapbooking, I guess, with the current things. But that's wonderful.
Yeah, that's true.
What are some other things you've got? I just still think this is a wonderful way to organize it. It's nice to have it online, but to have a printed scrapbook you can look through.
I have like even the Christmas cards with the kids' pictures and stuff on. And wedding invitation. And newspaper articles if they are in the newspaper. And I make sure you get the date.
Oh, the
year.
Date. Yes, all that.
And graduation.
Right.
Graduation.
Oh, somebody graduated from Auburn. Good. Yeah. Well, how fun.
Yes, just whatever. Birthday cards. First birthday, and I think he's about 14 now, but that was his first birthday.
Fun.
But
I bet you are the go-to person in your family if they want to know anything or want some help.
That's true. That's true.
That's great. Well, we just I appreciate you telling us about it. If anybody wanted to get started, what would be the first thing? Ancestry.com.
Yes, or they could, first of all, they need to get the information together, like write down what you know.
Okay.
Write down what you know. You would put, like I said, your name and then your mother and father and your sisters and brothers.
Okay.
And then you branch off to your grandparents. And then, from there, it's going to, it'll grow because your mother, your father, your grandparents, and then when you grandparents' children.
Yeah.
And so it'll keep growing. Just go with what you know. And like Ancestry.com is free at the library, which is wonderful.
Well, great. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show with me today. And maybe some of us will get motivated to get started with some of this work. I know it's a wonderful thing. So I do appreciate you coming here and hope you'll come into the library to get started on Ancestry or look at some of our newspapers or Heritage Quest. Take advantage of those free services. Yes, so thank you very much.
Thank you.